Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Beth, the one and only.
Today we're talking about a game called Skull and Bones. Now, if you've been paying any attention to gaming, you probably know what game we're talking about, but recently it had its open beta drop, and we gave it some playtime last night, and we have a few thoughts to share on it.
The first assessment is it's a very arcadey game. In some areas it seems a little jarring as far as concept is concerned. When it comes to like shooting and stuff, while not entirely historically accurate, I know that's a big thing for some people, it's still fun, and I do appreciate how they have delays between shots and things like wind gusts can affect how you sail, how you turn the ship, stuff like that.
As far as historical accuracy goes, this game takes a lot of liberties. When it comes to sailing, it's not very realistic, and even in terms of the ship combat, it's not very realistic. The cannons fire a lot faster than they probably would in real life. The ship is a lot faster than it would be in a lot of instances in real life. Of course, I understand that this is an action game, and if it was completely realistic, it wouldn't be nearly as fun. And in a game, the main goal is to make things fun, which is definitely what this game does. I really like the fact how you can aim the cannons just like you would aim a gun on a third-person shooter and just go crazy on a ship that's beside you. I really like that style of combat. And even though this game does put fun before historical accuracy, it does still take steps to remind you of the limitations of a pirate ship. This is why there is delays between shots, although they are short ones. There's things like when your ship is moving fast, it doesn't turn as well. Stuff like that. Little touches like that, even though not completely realistic, shows that there's still an attention to detail.
Let's just be entirely realistic. If you did everything entirely the way it's supposed to be, it would be very hard, especially for the lay person, to get into a game like that. They'd lose interest really quickly.
For comparison, there's another MMO that not many people know nowadays called Pirates of the Burning Sea. Now, this MMO pays a lot more attention to historical accuracy. The reloading of the cannons is very slow. The maneuverability of the ships is a lot lesser than it is in a game like Skull and Bones, and there's even other mechanics like your crew dying in the game, losing sail integrity, stuff like that makes the game a lot more realistic, but to some people this also affects the fun aspect because at times it can make the game very slow-paced. Skull and Bones operates under the mentality of paying a little bit of attention to historical accuracy, but not at the cost of fun, which I think for a game like this, in order to find great success with both hardcore and casual markets, was probably the best option.
I couldn't agree more, and also for the people who are starving for a game that's a little bit more accurate, like my brother said, Pirates of the Burning Sea may be for you.
Now, as it should be with any pirate game, there is a really good deal of exploration in this game. It became obvious that the game was going to offer a plethora of side quests. Just in the first town that you visit, there's a ton of them, and all of them require you to travel around the map and either collect materials or sink other ships or even board other ships to salvage goods from them. However, when it came to material collecting, it was a little bit controversial in my opinion.
Yeah, the thing about it is, instead of getting out of the ship, like pulling onto the island or sandbar or wherever it is you have to go and getting off the ship and collecting materials, you can actually collect materials on the ship. All you do is hover by the coast. You can collect things like jute and trees and etc. Which I'm kind of half on, because I thought that part of the adventure that a mini quest or a quest has to bring is by experiencing stuff, and if it's just super easy, that's going to be fine in some circumstances, but I don't know, I think it just takes out of it.
Yes, rather than getting out on the island and actually walking up to said resource and collecting it, there's usually just a little timed mini game that you play where there's like a bar and you have to hit the button at a certain time in order to get a certain score, and the better you do the little mini game, the more of the resource you collect, which I understand is more convenient, especially if you have to collect hundreds of materials, but at the same time it pulls the immersion away from the experience, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just me, I'm a grinder, I like to do work. I've been there though, I've been there where I don't necessarily want to do it. And then sometimes I'm like really gung-ho about it, so I would miss it if it was gone.
Now, this leads us into one of the biggest criticisms I have for the beta, and that's that the Avatar gameplay almost feels like a side note. There's very little you do with the Avatar besides just walk around, at least in this beta. As far as we can tell, there's no actual on-foot combat, and there's nothing that you can actually walk around and collect on foot, aside from a few things that you'll find in the port towns. The Avatar combat feels like it's really just there for the sake of being there, and the most of the meat and potatoes is going to be on the ship, which is expected in a pirate game, but it's kind of sad that they didn't expand on that Avatar gameplay a little more, at least in my opinion, because it would be nice to have some on-foot challenges. Swashbuckling and stuff, I think the game could have used some of that.
Of course, we could see it. It might be where it's not in the game yet, because we're not far enough in the game. This is just a demo.
Yeah, I want to make it clear that we haven't seen the whole game yet, so they might introduce that. However, this is a beta that's meant to sell people on the game, so if they do have swashbuckling in there, I feel like they should have included some of it in this beta, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think that swashbuckling is something that could entertain both the lay and the expert alike.
Basically, to close this segment, I hope that the on-foot gameplay isn't just a side note for the whole game.
And now on to concept. The game's customization is nothing to sneeze at. It's not the most elaborate I've seen, but it did have a lot of accessories and stuff, things you wear, necklaces, earrings, shirts, stuff like that. Not the biggest catalog in the world, but again, enough. One criticism that I would like to point out is that as far as pirates are concerned, the clothing doesn't need to just be stereotypical. I also encourage the concept artists to dig deep when it comes to clothes worn in that time. Because you have to understand that pirates were illegit businessmen. They stole and they sold stuff. It was all illegal. I mean, the ships that they had were illegal. They couldn't dock their ships and fix them like everybody else because they were wanted men. They had a price on their head. So you have to understand that there is no pirate clothes. It would be more so the clothes in that time.
Yeah, it would be very ragtag because that's basically all the pirates could do. You know, they had no support from nations. They only had their own sort of loosely formed society that they ran together. I will say the character customization was pretty good overall. I think you could make any type of character look that you wanted to for the most part, as long as it's within the time, of course. But I do think there is room to expand on it, mainly the clothing options.
Yeah. You can never have too many accessories, right? I mean, that's what I think anyways. But other than that, it's off to a really good start. I just think it could be better.
In the character customization, it might be limited, but there is a wide array of stuff, and I do believe most people will be able to find something they like. A lot of it costs in-game money, so you have to be very careful what you spend it on, because you also need to save your money for things like ship upgrades, cannonballs, things like that, but you can buy some pretty cool looking figures, I will say, including one that looks like the Grim Reaper. So, as mentioned in the beginning summary of the video, the ship combat is really nice. It's something we had a lot of fun with. Imagine a third-person shooter where basically you use the bottom triggers to aim and shoot. Well, this is a lot like that, only with a pirate ship. The pirate ship is fairly swift considering it's at sea, although you do lose more maneuverability the faster you go, but I think that's a nice touch. It kind of adds a layer of strategy because when you have to maneuver a lot, you have to remember to slow down. When you're trying to catch another ship or get close enough to board them, you have to speed up, and boarding is a mechanic all on its own. In my experience in the demo, you can't try to board another ship until you damage it partially. At least that's how it always was for me when I was playing the beta. And then once you damage the ship partially, you have to get close to it and shoot your grapples at it. And when you do board a ship, there's no actual boarding combat or anything like that. Your crew just kind of goes on their ship and takes all their loot, and then you win the battle, which is okay, I guess, but I would have liked some form of boarding combat.
Yeah, I think it takes away from it not having a fight before you board the ship. You know, wherever there's a treasure, there's a thief ready to steal it. I mean, it seems like that they would want to keep you from getting their treasure, not you just hijack their ship and they just let you take the loot willy-nilly. It makes gathering loot less exciting. Alright, and now we're at the last, but certainly not the least. The menu audio. That sound was atrocious.
Menu narration toggle off on. Subtitle display small list selection default enables subtitles for spoken text touchpad button reset to default cross button select gunplay closed captions toggle off enables closed captions for menu narration toggle on enables narration in the game menus.
Why can't you just hire a real voice actor to read out those lines? Why do you have to use AI? If you do something like that, you gotta make sure that the audio isn't drowned out by the music too. It has to be balanced. This stuff was just a train wreck. And when you look at inside the demo, when you're seeing the little guys singing on the ship and stuff, the audio seems to be balanced pretty good, but that menu was atrocious.
It's not really a major deal because most people aren't going to turn on menu narration anyways, but it's just really odd.
It really mingles with the music. It sounds like mumbling. I mean, if you're not really listening to it, you can't tell what it's saying.
So to close, we have only played about a couple hours of this beta, but what we will say is that for the most part, we really liked what we saw. The ship combat is superb. The ship controls are really fun. I think it's really nice how they handled it, even if it's not completely historically accurate. It's a lot of fun. The character customization is nice. The music is mostly ambient, but nice nonetheless. The graphics are pretty good, considering this is an open world game. The only thing that I would say is a major problem overall is the fact that the Avatar gameplay seems like such a side thought. There's really not a lot to it. But other than that, I really like what we're seeing in this game. So what I would close with is I hope that they expand upon the Avatar gameplay in the full release, but other than that, I'm having a lot of fun with this game.
Yeah, I can definitely see how this game has potential, and there's good fun to be had with it.
In case any of you are wondering, the Avatar you were looking at was made by Beth.
Yeah, sometimes I drop the ball, but I think I did pretty good on this one.
Thanks for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe.
I'm pretty good when I have my 8 hours. Yeah, hi. This is Beth, the one and only, and, I just wanted to come on here to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you have to say. I think it would be part of a meaningful conversation. Maybe request some videos that we could do. I don't know. Or maybe you just want to shoot the breeze. Alright, have a nice day.